Hello everyone, my name is Ankit Khandelwal and here I'm back again with one more MOOC enthusiastic persons, this time from Netherlands. And so far we have seen people from different walks of life. We have interviewed Dilrukshi, she's a working mother and she has taken more than 30 MOOCs to improve her living lifestyle and also getting a lot of new perspectives on getting educated at home. We last time we interviewed Nadzet from Bosnia and Herzegovina, and he has taken around 60 MOOCs and he got a lot of nice perspectives and he has shared his vision on how he wants to help other youngsters in spreading the works of MOOCs. And today we have with us, and it is continuing the series, Jos Maassen from Netherlands. Hi Jos.
Hi Ankit.
So, Jos, as far as I heard, or I read, he's the founder of, or say, co-founder of MOOC Factory. The MOOC Factory is specializing in providing MOOCs to to organizations and companies to suit the learning needs of different people and on different walks of life in the growing usage of technology in 21st century. And it's really helpful, as we all know how MOOCs are helping each one of us through the use of technology. So let's talk to Jos. Hi Jos, welcome again.
Hi Ankit. Yes.
So the first very questions, how the idea of MOOC Factory came in your mind? How did you start?
In 2013, I was at the ASTD in Dallas, and I met Ben Betts, and he's the founder and owner of Curator, a nice MOOC platform. So in those years, I followed a lot of MOOCs from Coursera and FutureLearn and edX, but I really find the learning platform Curator a very nice platform to create MOOCs and SPOCs. So in the Netherlands, we started to create MOOCs and SPOCs with the innovative learning platform Curator. Yeah, and my special interest in this is the social learning component in the MOOCs.
So can you describe more about your social learning component? What is it and how can you explain more briefly in a basic what it is?
Yeah. Now Curator is based on social learning, and social learning for me is sharing knowledge and sharing experiences by the users. So I prefer also a lot of diversity of users into a MOOC for sharing their knowledge and experience, so you can learn from them. Because we all together knows a lot, but we have to share it. We have to share the knowledge and experience we have. Yeah.
Yeah, so thanks for your answer. So going back to your MOOC experiences, you said you had followed some MOOCs from Coursera and also now you're designing. If I like to ask, what kind of difficulties or what kind of differences you felt in MOOCs in the initial days, not now, initial days, and to adjust this new format of learning? How did you cope up with them?
Yeah, when I followed the first MOOCs a couple of years ago, it was just learning by myself, but not knowing and sharing experience with other learners. So I missed that element. And also a second conclusion for me was because the large amount of users, to keep up the overview is very difficult. That for me are two important elements when I learned from MOOCs. Yeah.
So how did you try to let's you face the difficulties like not able to interact with other people? So how did you try to incorporate this learning in your the current MOOCs you are designing? What kind of these difficulties? How you change to design your current MOOCs?
Yeah. In our MOOCs, we have a lot of content. For example, video, PDF, or slide share of images or text or URLs from weblogs or sites. And every content, we call it a content, a learning object, there is a discussion point. So you can discuss the content with other users. But I really think that the big amount of users, it isn't possible to have an overview. So maybe we have to create smaller MOOCs. We call it also mini MOOCs, and separate the groups. Yeah, but not with 100,000 users on the same time learning in a MOOC. I miss the overview. It's my personal opinion.
Yeah, well, I taken many MOOCs, and I was able to gain and learn a lot of things, but I was not able to interact with everyone. So I kind of agree with your point. And one of the important element in MOOCs is about interaction among people. It's because it's more like every individual is sitting at his home or in his office, sitting in front of his laptop. So how do you keep innovating and keep trying? What kind of new methods or new strategies you employ to keep this interactive interaction part or interactive element intact in your courses?
Yeah, there's a couple of influences. First, I have great experience with the role of the moderator. So a subject matter expert or is a moderator in the MOOC. He can keep up going, welcome people, react on people, discussion points. So the role of a moderator is very important. Not just giving answers, but be welcome people, ask further questions. That's very important. The second element is there is a synchronous learning. Everybody on the same time, because in Curator is also a chat function, so you can learn synchronous in the same time, but also asynchronous. Is that the correct word? Asynchronous, so everybody in his own time.
I believe so.
Yeah, the third element we now use in developing and designing in the MOOC is after a week we can send a newsletter to all the users. What's happening in the first week, an overview, a summary. And after every newsletter, we see the activity is growing. It's
Okay.
a nice pattern that we see, yeah.
Oh well, thank you for sharing your strategies you're employing to make it more interactive. There is how to say there is well, I don't like to say, but still people say that MOOCs are not for everyone. Do you really agree that it requires a different set of mindset to get knowledge from MOOCs? And what kind of things someone has, what kind of approach a person needs to have in his mind when he wants to take a particular MOOC?
Yeah, I really don't know if every MOOC is for everybody, but there are also people who don't want to share in the first time, but they want to see lectures. We call it in Holland, in the Netherlands, lurkers. They only want to see the lectures, but they don't want to discuss with other people. But I think also the role of the moderator is very important to be sure that all the participants are going to share. And I think people want to share a lot. Just see it Facebook or whatever. We want to share. We have to ask people to share.
Yeah, well, my question was slightly in different note. It's what I'm asking is if a person wants to learn from MOOC, what kind of
Yeah.
mindset or what kind of skill set he has to have before even thinking about taking MOOC? Like what kind of different mindset? It's like passion or ability to have manage the time. Uh, do you have
Yeah.
something on
Okay.
it?
I think curiosity is the most important skill, to be curious. Maybe a couple of computer skills, ICT skills is also necessary, I think. But curiosity is the most important, Ankit. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, and I need to ask you more about the time management since you also taken a couple of MOOCs. How did you manage your time? For the MOOCs spreading like 6 to 7 weeks. how you were able to manage the time, especially since it's not a university classroom where you have fixed things.
Well, in following MOOCs, you mean? Not by design and developing,
Yes, following
by
MOOCs, more following MOOCs. Or you can also share your perspective on how you design MOOCs so that people will keep engaged and they don't like fall apart because of time management. What advices you give to them? Something or anything you want to share on it?
for me, following MOOCs is nothing next to my work. It is a part of my work. So really don't know why people have to manage the time, because yeah, for me it's a part of my work. So
So maybe you
it's
can share perspective of designer of MOOCs, how you try to what is it, convince people if they can manage time, or some advice you want to give to them so that they can able to manage and able to finish things
yeah.
on time.
At the start of a MOOC or maybe a SPOC, it's a small private online course.
Hmm.
It's the same as a MOOC, but also the target is known. So we also designing and developing MOOCs and SPOCs. But at the start, we gave the time set. Also per level, because in the MOOC we divide it in levels and learning objects. Every level and every learning object, there is a time frame, maybe 5 minutes or 10 minutes or 15 minutes. He's busy with the level or learning object.
Okay, so this is one of the questions which I generally ask with everyone. What is the optimum time length of any MOOCs? I mean, how long a MOOC has to be so that maximum people can gain and they can be engaged?
Yeah, I think between 3 weeks and maybe 3 months. That's our experience. In Holland, in the Netherlands, we have now a couple of mini MOOCs for 4 weeks. And I think that's a nice time to follow a MOOC, maybe 4 or 5 weeks. Yeah, to keep also up the interest and planning quite in time in a week. So I prefer maybe mini MOOCs for 4 or 5 weeks, little subjects. Yeah, another course for 1 year or 2 years. I think it's too long.
Okay, well, I felt the same, but I finished recently a course on China which was offered from Harvard University, and it was like
Yeah.
14 months, I believe. And it was
Oh,
divided into
yeah.
10 modules, and we were like 2,000 students who finished all the 10 modules.
But
So,
maybe it's possible, Ankit, to divide the MOOC
yes,
of
yes, 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 yes.
months
That's what I'm
in
saying.
little
That it was
short
divided
little
and
mini.
it was long,
Yeah.
but it was mostly the passion and curiosity with among us, so that we could follow this course for a long time. And you mentioned about the optimum time length, and this is one of the questions I was thinking to ask about as a MOOC Factory founder. How do you convince people to take a course like if he's a new to MOOC? Let's say he just heard of MOOC in one or in few sentences. Why he has to take a MOOC if I'm a new MOOC enthusiastic or not MOOC enthusiastic, a person who just heard of MOOC? How you explain me the value of MOOCs and the value of gaining education through MOOCs?
Okay, in 2 sentences, you say.
Maybe more. I take more time. It's just my initial thoughts which came, but tell whichever you want to tell. You have to convince somebody about the value of MOOCs. Maybe it's your customer, or maybe just a youngster.
I think it's more valuable to share your knowledge and skill and experience with others than we think. Um, and that's possible in the MOOC. So yeah, for me it's very valuable to sharing my opinion and my insights with other people. And maybe I'm not right, and maybe I'm right. Okay, but that's the only way, is to sharing the knowledge, and it's possible in the MOOC. I think all the users together knows a lot more than a professor.
Yeah, well, you're quite right. It's I felt in many of my discussion forums. And do you have any memorable experiences, any interesting experiences of not just designing MOOCs but also following MOOCs? Any memorable event you want to share with us?
I didn't understand. Do you?
It's
Can
more
you?
like I met a lady who was like 78 years old, having like
Yeah.
7 grandchildren. So it was very memorable experience to use. You're taking a course on European law from a lady in United States, 78 years old, and you're just 27. So these kind of small, nice experiences. Any experience you have while designing or taking the MOOC, meeting nice people or interesting people, something like that?
Now, maybe you can also keep up the users in a MOOC by a sort of gamification. I think the next generation of MOOCs have to be elements of gamification in it, and Curator is also based on gamification. So you can earn points. We call it experience points. So the attention in the MOOC will be high. Yeah, because there's a leaderboard in it, and you also want to go high in the leaderboard.
Yeah, well, it's more like Game of Thrones, maybe.
Yeah.
And Game of Thrones. Well, unfortunately, I don't play that game. And as you mentioned about more about gamifications, and then I can understand the use of technology, ICT. So, are your users or the people who are using the MOOCs designed by you mostly youngsters, or you have all age groups?
No, it's very different. Also, youngers, the young professionals, also the new hires in the company, because we created MOOCs and SPOCs, for example, for onboarding in a new company, but also the people who are leaving the company in a couple of years. So one big question for creating a small private online course within a company, was how can we use the knowledge of the older employees by sharing their knowledge with the youngsters. So in one SPOC, there are youngsters and the older people together and sharing their knowledge and experiences. So for us, it's not only to create and develop MOOCs and SPOCs for youngsters. It's also for elder people. Yeah.
Okay, so it's more like collaborative learning. That's exactly what MOOCs were designed for.
Yeah.
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 So, where do you see the future of MOOCs? Where they are heading? Because I'm the one who taken a lot of MOOCs. You are the one who designed a lot of MOOCs. So it will be nice to see. Where do you see the new developments are going to come? What kind of new developments will happen in MOOCs in
Now,
coming
I think
years?
the next generation in MOOCs will be more strong based also on gamification, I think. But also, what do we do with the data from the MOOCs and SPOCs? Not only the user data, all the answers or discussion points from all the users, but also the usage data. What time everybody are on the MOOC? What's the relation between the weather outside and the participation in the MOOC? But that's the usage data. I think there we can learn a lot from the data, the market data, from all the reactions and discussion points made by the users. And we are developing right now visualization tools where we can visualize the
The data,
the
you would
reaction.
say.
Yeah, the people. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
So, well, it was quite wonderful. And the MOOCs are going to change. I hope I will take more MOOCs in future designed by you on those gamifications. And one of the aspects, since you're designing MOOCs for corporations, how was their reactions in very first instance? Because initially the MOOCs were not taken seriously in like 2012 when they were launched. Now they're getting accepted by bigger corporations. So how was the reaction when you entered into what to say designing MOOCs for corporations?
Yeah, maybe a lot of people have a sort of opinion of insight about MOOCs. It's from universities, a large amount of users, but you can also create a MOOC in your company. We call it a SPOC. And now the reactions are very positive because a lot of people in a company now sharing more knowledge and experience with each other than before they have a SPOC or a MOOC. And after that, they are meeting each other face to face, not only in a SPOC, but also offline. So they're going to have lunch together because they met each other in a SPOC. So in Holland, maybe I have to concentrate it for the Netherlands, we see a lot of separation between departments. Dus employees who works in different departments in the company don't speak with each other. But now with a MOOC or a SPOC, they're all sharing knowledge with each other online, and after that face to face. So they're sharing. So
I must understand this. The corporations are able to improve their productivity and efficiency because of the SPOC you are providing them. Am I right?
Yeah.
So this can be valuable for corporations also if they think MOOCs in a positive way and try to utilize.
Yeah.
Right? So
I have a nice example for you, Ankit. We have created a SPOC, so a small private online course for a large company in Holland, and the sales managers are spread all over the world. But in the SPOC, there is content about the new product of that company. So the sales managers sharing their knowledge and experience with the new products, but also research and development are in the SPOC. So it's not only content sharing, but also creation. So new products will be created because the sales managers, but also research and development are in the same SPOC now. They learn from each other, and before that they didn't talk to each other. No.
That's really wonderful. I think that this is your example needs to be needed to tell people who are unnecessarily criticizing for MOOCs like past 3 years. And I think this is a really good examples to show them that MOOCs are really helpful. So one of the few last questions, it's what you creating MOOCs are for corporations and what MOOCs generally available are from university. And there is a lot of discussions that MOOCs are going to replace or not. What is the value of them in place of university? What is your opinion? MOOCs and university educations, how they go together, or how they are against each other, or what is your opinion on it?
Now, my opinion is that I really think that the MOOCs will be growing and growing much more, but maybe also the variety of MOOCs. We also call a MOOR massive open online research. It's a sort of MOOC because the value of the data you can get on the MOOC. And I see a growing trend in SPOCs in a company. So the employees are sharing much more with each other in a sort of MOOC or SPOC learning environment. But Ankit, what's the name MOOC? Maybe we shouldn't call it a MOOC. We show a learning platform about content.
The word MOOC, like massive, the word massive open online course, and that is entirely jeopardizing a lot of positive things coming out. But on the right foot, what is your favorite MOOCs you have designed so far? Any MOOCs is your favorite, either design or taken?
Yeah, in the Netherlands, it was an example from Great Britain, from England. It was a MOOC about social learning in a social learning platform curator. So it was learning by doing, but also practice what you preach. It was a MOOC about social learning. And in the Netherlands, nearly 1,000 people followed that MOOC and sharing the knowledge about social learning in a social way. It was very nice.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And one of the last questions, which is generally asked, what is your advice to someone who is designing the MOOC? How a person needs to think? What kind of things he has to keep in mind if he has to design a MOOC?
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. What's really your target group? That's very important. Are them childs? Are them professors? Are them new employees? Elder employees? So knowing the target group is very important. That's the first one. The second one is, do you want to create a course in a flow in subjects, or are it separated subjects? Is it a core? Is it really a course, or are it separated subjects? That's also a very important discussion point, how to design and develop a course. The third one is let me
Maybe you can talk about assessments, how a person needs to be assessed, something on that.
assess before or be assessed afterwards.
Like quizzes or exams, how you assess the performance of the students and test his learnings. How this can be one of the important, I believe.
It's also an important element of a MOOC. Yeah. What we do the last month is user-generated content. So we will ask users to also develop and design in co-creation the MOOC. Also designing and developing the MOOC by the users. So we call it user-generated content, and not only by a company or professor of a university to set content online, but to ask the users for content. Pictures, PDFs, SlideShare, text, URLs, weblogs, whatever.
So you are saying that you provide the platform for users and all those technical tools, and they are generating the MOOCs.
Yeah.
Right. Oh, that's fantastic. That's really. I would love to do those things. It's really nice to design the own MOOC after I've taken like more than 50 MOOCs myself.
And what we now also see now is a link, a combination between MOOCs and a learning record store. And a learning record store is also tracking and tracing your learning experiences in different learning tools. Not only in Coursera, not only in FutureLearn, but with the learning record store, you can track and trace and collect data, learning data, what I do in Curator, what I do in FutureLearn, what I do in Blackboard, what I do in Coursera, whatever. So I create my own learning record store from data from a MOOC. So I see in the future a link between the learning record store and MOOCs. Yeah.
So one last question. It's what's your plan for MOOC Factory? Where do you want to see? What kind of new things we are going to see in your website or organizations in future, in coming weeks or in coming years?
Yeah, we are developing right now elements of gamification in our MOOCs. And the combination with the learning record store I just told you, and the social element will be the base. The social element will be the base. Yeah.
Well, Jos, thank you for your time, and I hope all the people who are watching or are going to watch later on will understand that MOOCs are really helpful, not just for learners of university or the people from all ages of life, but also the corporations. And it's proof of your story. It's a proof that MOOCs can really be helpful to improve the productivity and increase the efficiency. So thank you very much for your time, and it was wonderful talking to you. Thank you.
Can we do?